Right, in this section we're going to look at some horizontal throws, which look a bit like this. I like horizontal throws very much. They add a bit of variety, instead of just doing vertical throws all the time. And I think they're quite easy to do. They can be quite fun, and you can do them while jumping, and they fit in really nicely with the other horizontal movements we're looking at. So let's take a look at them. The easiest one to start with, I reckon, is doing it with our hands on the outside of the hoop like this. I'm taking it to my fingertips, like so, and I'm just going to hold it at shoulder height. Now you could just throw it straight up like this, but I don't think that makes it particularly stable in the air. I find it's easier if I put a little bit of a twist on it. You can see I'm just twisting it as I throw it like this. And I'm throwing it just slightly forward of my body, so I can catch it in front of me. It's not very easy to catch it how we threw it, so rather than catching it like this, with my thumbs up, which would look a bit like this, it's kind of awkward. The easiest way to catch it is to stick my arm out in front of me, with my fingers pointing upwards, and just let it hook onto it. Now it doesn't look very good if I'm not spinning around in a circle, it looks quite messy, but if I spin while I do it, in the same direction that I'm spinning the hoop as I throw it, then it pulls out to the side and looks quite pretty. So, hands on the outside of the hoop, spin in the same direction you're going to turn, and just catch it with your arm, like that. Catch on your wrist, or down as low as your elbow. You don't have to catch it on the arm like that though. If you start feeling comfortable with it, you can grab it with your hand. And that helps us bring it straight into a corkscrew, like so. Now if we want to go into this throw, we need our hand to be outside of the hoop. So if we're turning in a circle, I can twist my hand so the palm's facing down, not doing any grip change, just holding the hoop solidly, twist my hand over, and then bring it up to my other hand. And then I can go straight into that throw. So I'm catching my hand up, twisting the hoop over, bringing it to my other hand, throwing it up with the twist. Back into the hand again. So it's quite a stable little throw, quite fun to do. And also you can add in ways to make it a bit more dynamic. So we're turning it the whole time, but we could jump at various points. So if I was going to jump, I could jump before I throw it, and then throw it while I'm in the air. That would look like this. It's quite nice. Also I could jump as I catch it. Because it's quite a stable catch, because I'm just letting it land on my arm, I could do something a bit more interesting. So let's look at that. I'm going to throw it and then jump as I catch it. Ooh, I'm going to twist my hand so it's outside the hoop. Put both hands on, throw it, and jump as I catch it. And I twisted my arm as I came round there, which was quite exciting. So that's a lot of fun, and they're not that hard to do because you've got a large area to make that catch. So have a bit of a play with that. You don't have to do it with both hands on the hoop, you can do it with just one hand. A bit harder, maybe slightly less stable, but if I bring my hand round, I can go like that. So same idea, I'm still twisting the hoop in the air, except instead of how with both hands it's quite easy, like this, now it's a bit harder to get that twist at the same time, because we still want it to happen around the hoop. It's almost like it's sort of a horizontal isolation. I want my hand to come around the hoop, so the hoop goes straight up. Like that. Again, it's easier to catch it with your palm up. Of course, it there like that, which is one way of doing it. But it's easier to catch it with your palm facing upwards. And then you can come straight back into a corkscrew. And this one we can do nice and easy, straight out of the corkscrew if we twist our hand over. So I'm doing a corkscrew, I twist my hand over, so the palm's facing downwards, and I go straight into that throw. Like so. Or with both hands. There you go. So I like those a lot. Other things we can do with one hoop, around the body throws. Now I'll show you what some of the round the body throws look like to start with. If I'm doing a corkscrew, I can just pop it around my body, like that. And they're quite a lot of fun, again, pretty effective. So the way we're going to learn that is we're going to try throwing it with both hands. So to start with, just try throwing it in front of you, with both hands, and having the hoop going straight up in the air like that. Catching again with your hands up. We're going to do a throw like this, but we're going to try and catch it with one hand behind the back. So if I twist my body slightly, throw it up with both hands, and catch it with my other arm behind the back. Now you might find this catch quite awkward. It takes a while to get used to, but it's quite satisfying when you get it. So have a few goes at that. If you start to get it, you can try it while you're turning. So I've got both hands on the hoop, just pop it up, and keep turning, and then I bring my hand round and back into a corkscrew. So I could do that from a corkscrew. When it's down, I put both hands on the hoop, pop the hoop up, twist my body. You can see I'm twisting my body, so I'm leaning forwards, and putting my right arm all the way back behind me, and bringing it back into a corkscrew. Like so. So for that one, I'm throwing it to the same hand. I'm doing a corkscrew, anti-clockwise from above, with my right hand. I throw it around the body with my right hand, and then catching it with my right hand. And yet, with a bit of practice, you can start doing it with just one hand. Instead of needing to put both hands on, I can do it with one hand, pop it up slightly, grab it behind my back. It's not really a throw as such. It's not like you're doing a big movement. It's just more of a little pop. I just pop it up a bit in the air, and because I'm turning as I do it, it's got a little bit of horizontal movement to it. I twist my body right around and catch it. So you don't have to just do that around the side. First of all, you do it with the other hand. With my left hand, in the same direction, pops around the other side. Whee! Ends up in front of me. So again, you could do that with both hands. I could hold the hoop behind my back, pop it up, and catch it with my left hand. And that's basically what I'm doing, except I'm letting it come all the way around in the corkscrew first. So I get to this position, pop it up, and catch it. If you're a quite complicated version of this, and you don't need to be able to do this to keep going, but this is just a slightly more advanced version, you can bring the hoop behind your back to throw it, and then catch it behind the back on the other side with your other hand. That looks like this. I'm going to set yourself a bit of a challenge. Whee! Like that. And again, it's easier turning, although I sort of stop turning halfway through, turn it the other way, and then come back into it. But that's more advanced. Easier ones are maybe around the neck or around the leg. You can try some of those. So you could pop it, so you could lift up one leg and catch it, pop it around the neck, and we're trying to catch it ready to come straight back into a corkscrew. So we're keeping our palm facing upwards. So as it comes down, straight back, and ready to come into a corkscrew. Don't worry if you can't do those throws, they can be a bit awkward, it's just something to try. You don't necessarily need to get them now. You can move on if you haven't got them, come back to them later. We can also do the horizontal two-handed throw with two hoops. So, same idea as it was with one hoop, but now they're split in the air and we can come into our horizontal pirouettes. It's quite an effective way to start. If you just picked up your two hoops and a song's come on and you want to do a bit of a showy start, you pop straight into a horizontal split. It's quite exciting and people will go, ooh, and think you're amazing. So the way to learn this is to hold both hoops as if they were one. See, I've got one on top of each other, like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move one to the side and keep them just slightly offset when I throw them. Now, something I do here to make them split more is I stick my thumbs in the middle. Now you might have big hoops, it might be hard to do that, or you might not find that helps. But I find this is one tip that really sort of pulls apart the hoops in the air. So I'll show you how that works. Got my thumbs in the middle, I'm going to hold them horizontal, just like we did when we were doing it with one hoop. And now I'm just going to pop it up a little bit and put slightly in front of me, like this. And then I'm going to grab it with my hands facing upwards, or grab them with my hands facing upwards, and come straight to this horizontal turn. Horizontal pirouette. Don't have to do it with your thumbs in there. You can have them just slightly offset and just use your fingertips. That can still work. I don't find it necessarily splits them as well, but it's going to depend a lot on the hoops you're using. If they've got a lot of grip tape on, they're going to stick together more. You might need to flick them more. Other ways that can vary what you're doing is the more sides spin you put on it as you throw them. That can flick them apart more. So you're going to have to play and experiment a bit using the hoops that you have and see how you can get them to split enough in mid-air so it's nice and easy to grab them with each hand. But yeah, it's a fun thing to do when you start hooking. You don't have to do it just when you start either. You could come into it while you're spinning too. If I was doing a pirouette like this, I could bring my hands together here, put them into one hand, and then bring the other hand into play on the outside. So I'm into that position, ready to throw them. Yeah, it's going to take a bit of practice to get it solid, but when you get it, it looks really nice. You could also use it to throw it to a partner. So if I had someone standing next to me, I could do this throw, and we could both start hooping with one hoop. Similar way that you can do it is you can throw it vertically. The same idea of just holding one past the other. This time I don't put my thumb in, just have them next to each other. You can grab them with your hands down. But I'm not going to look at that particularly because mostly we're focusing on horizontal moves. But yeah, it does work in the vertical plane as well. Right, so there's quite a few throws for you to play with. Don't need to get all of them, but I do want to have a bit of a play with it. Put on a couple of songs, have a play, see if you can start to get a few of them. Then move on to the next section.